All right, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off a disappointing Monday morning defeat last week. That was a crazy delay, but all in all, this is a Steelers team heading into, I'm going to call it a must-win game against the Las Vegas Raiders if they want to be a serious contender in the AFC North. That just got a lot more interesting with the Ravens now on a three-game winning streak. And to that end, the Steelers just got some outstanding news that should point to them in the right direction this week. I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, so like I mentioned, the Steelers playing the Raiders this week. This is a matchup where the Steelers, if you look at the situation, regardless of who plays at the quarterback position, I know it looks like Russell Wilson is going to be the guy, but regardless of how that all shakes out, the Steelers are better at coach, they're better at quarterback, they're better at skill player going to this game. We all know it, right? The Raiders are even a little dysfunctional right now. So even though the Steelers are on a two-game losing streak, the vibes and overall energy is on Pittsburgh's side. However, the one thing that can defeat that in the game of football, we see this all the time, is if you lose in the trenches. Even though if you have better skill players, even if you have better coaching, if the other team can run the ball and you can't stop the run, it's going to be a long day. Fortunately for the Steelers, the data supports the fact that they're going to be able to handle the Raiders' attack in that regard, probably with ease. Let's pull up this report here, courtesy of Athlon Sports. The Pittsburgh Steelers are field goals favorites for Sunday's contest against the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas's ground game is easily the worst in the sport. Neither running back Zamir White nor Alexander Madison have taken hold of the starting job, making leads harder to hold on to in a two-dimensional offense nearly impossible to achieve. The Raiders rank dead last in expected points added per rush and success rate. Those are two really good analytics rate. Success rate is defining, hey, what's a successful run? So if it's like 2nd and 2 and you get 3 yards, that's a successful run. If it's 1st and 10 and you get 5, that's a successful run. So it factors in down distance situations for success rate, because obviously it's a 3rd and 20 and you run a draw for 10 yards. It's great for your average, but it's not a success. The Raiders are the worst in the NFL at those metrics. While the Steelers' passing defense has wavered as injuries have hit the front seven, the team's run defense has remained elite. By expected points added, Pittsburgh ranks 4th, by success rate 5th. Nobody except the Indianapolis Colts has been able to run on the Steelers, and it's safe to say Jonathan Taylor poses a much bigger risk than anyone in this Sin City backfield. Not to mention the Colts' offensive line is a whole lot better than the Raiders as well. Look, this is a game. This is a bounce back game. This is a get right game. And the only way you can lose these games is if you lose in the trenches. Obviously, the Steelers have some injuries like every team does at this point in the season. But when you look at the data, the only thing that could be concerning, the run defense, run offense, opposing run offense, the Steelers look strong in that regard. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Pittsburgh fans in the comment section below. Obviously, great start to the season. Last 2 games, little disappointing, but you have a chance here to stay on top of the AFC North with the victory over the Raiders. Give us your prediction right now. Final score, Steelers, Raiders. How do you think it's going to shake out? Let us know in the comment section below. But Myers, what are your thoughts on this latest news out of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Nick, I think this bodes well for Pittsburgh. Obviously, they're ranked number 1 defensively by PFF, just overall defensive grade. Really strong run defense, as article alludes to, which I think is good, especially when you match up your strength to their weakness. That really is very good for a team. If you have the best run defense and they have one of the worst rushing attacks, that's good. Because also, if you look at the Raiders, they've struggled passing as well. They've struggled keeping the ball clean. That is why Aiden O'Connell is coming into the game as quarterback. So he's not really a rookie anymore. He's been around the block. He started a couple games last year, but a young quarterback coming in for the Raiders as well. I don't think the passing attack, especially with Devontae Adams potentially being out as well, I don't think that's going to be too much of a threat for the Steelers. So this top to bottom, soup to nuts, should be an absolutely dominant defensive performance by this Steelers team. And it's like you said, it needs to be, because at 3-2, this is that make or break, type of game for the Steelers. You drop to 3-3, people start saying you're probably not a contender anymore. You get to 4-2, almost like the Raiders. They start out 0-2, now they're back to 3-2. You go in that direction, people are saying, okay, this team's got something. There's something going on with this team. And I think beating a team like the Raiders, if you can do it, but also do it in a dominant fashion, kind of show off that top level defense, that's when people start to see this Pittsburgh team as a contender. So I think this is a really great game for the Steelers to bounce back. I think everything really is going in their favor on both assets of the Raiders offense, passing being a little shaky, running being downright atrocious. lining up with this Steelers #1 defense, it should be an easy day for them, regardless of who starts at quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this is going to be a really good game for them.
Yeah, and I think of this as a get right game in a lot of ways for the Steelers defense, who thanks on large part by clutch plays, turnovers forced at home against Dallas, of course, the block kick, kept that score down to 20. Obviously, they gave up that late touchdown that ended up costing them the game. But if you look at the yardage and if you watch the game in its entirety, Dallas and Dak Prescott, they moved the football on the Steelers defense. They gave up 445 yards of offense, 25 first downs. And again, when the game really mattered, they couldn't get a stop. That's not the Steelers defense we come to expect. We know this team. We've known it for probably 10 years now, it feels like, the way it's been with Pittsburgh. This is a team that's going to be really focused defensively, coming up with big stops, keeping that yardage and first down total down, keep this offense, in a situation where they don't have to win the game and put a lot of points on the board, whether it's Russell Wilson or not. That's their strategy. That's who they are. That's just Pittsburgh Steelers football. They cannot give up a lot of yardage and first down this week against the Raiders. But fortunately for them, they won't. Dallas is much better at skill position, much better at quarterback, veteran guy like Prescott, and even better in the running game than the Raiders are. This is just a phenomenal opportunity. Like I said, a get-right game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And again, the fact that they're a 3-point favorite as it currently sits on the road most likely has them at about 6.5 point favorite. Looking at the current odds right now, it sits at -2.5. So again, we're looking at a 6-point basically talent differential because the home team gets 3 points, basically 3.5 points according to general Vegas procedures. Looking at them being at home, they get that advantage. So right now, the smart money, the odds makers, they think the Steelers are 6 points better on paper than the Raiders. That's obviously a good sign. Now it's going out and executing, getting a big win, getting back in the win column, getting to 4-2. I love the Steelers to do it this weekend. And by the way, I'm expecting some offensive breakout. I think this is a team that's ready to be more productive in the passing game. This feels to me like a 27-13 Steelers victory, getting themselves heading in the right direction going forward.